Washington, D.C. office of bar counsel, alleging that Holder had committed, quote, professional misconduct during the congressional investigation into the scandal. Yeah, you think so? Lying to investigators, withholding evidence, conspiring to commit felony acts in order to destroy the rights of people to purchase legal firearms for their own self-defense? Really? Is that professional misconduct? I guess we'll find out. What do we have here? Zero hedge. China shuns U.S. and invests directly in Iran oil fields. So here we have more. This is a strategic question of how China and Iran are forming stronger ties. And by the way, China is doing this all over the world, forming financial and political ties with nations that have key resources that are crucial for the ongoing success of the Chinese economy. If you look at supplies of things like natural gas, petroleum, and even concrete, China's got them. China's got the dibs on those resources, and they're pulling them in, and they're making sure that countries like the United States can't get access to those resources. And at the same time, by the way, China has all the rare earth metals and minerals that are key strategic resources in terms of weapons and guided missiles and telecommunications equipment, all those kinds of things. China has a lock on those too. So watch for that to get very heated in the years ahead. All right, here we go. If you host a Bible study program in your own home, you could be facing 60 days in prison and a $12,000 fine. This is what happened to a couple in Arizona, in Phoenix, and he's been sentenced now to 60 days in prison and a $12,000 fine for hosting Bible study. Michael Salmon and his wife have been hosting gatherings for 15 to 20 people to discuss the Bible. Now they're going to jail because you can't teach people out of your own home. We'll have a lot more straight ahead. Stay with us here on The Alex Jones Show. We'll be right back with much more. Yeah, we're back on The Alex Jones Show. This is Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, filling in today. I'm the editor of naturalnews.com. And wow, we were just before the break, we were talking about 60 days in prison and a $12,000 fine for hosting a home Bible study in Arizona. Now, this couple was hosting, 15 to 20 people to teach concepts about the Bible, share some food, to discuss their creator and their religion. And now he's being sentenced. Michael Salmon is being sentenced to 60 days in prison and a $12,000 fine. Police officers, almost a dozen, raided their home and gathered, quote, evidence of their, quote, crimes, which I assume would have included Bibles. And he was then found guilty of 67 code violations. And now he's going to be ripped away from his family and put in prison for 2 months. And the assistant city prosecutor is asking the court to revoke his probation and convert it into a 2.5-year jail sentence. Boy, that's a real God hater right there, a Bible hater, since he continues to hold worship gatherings on his property despite court orders. Oh, so let me get this straight. If you have a birthday party for your 7-year-old, you don't need permits. You don't need any of that. You can just have a little birthday party. Or if you have friends over for a dinner, you can have 12, 15, 20 people over for a dinner, just a little party. Even a crazy drinking party, you can have 15 to 20 people over as long as you don't make too much noise. And I can't imagine that Bible study was a huge amount of noise. They probably weren't, partying out in the backyard and slugging down vodka. That's probably not what happened in Bible study. And yet they get arrested and raided and now facing 2.5 years in jail. This is insane. This is what America has come to. And regardless of whether you follow the Bible or any particular religion, don't we have a First Amendment right in this country? Don't we have the right, freedom of religion and freedom of expression to just have friends come over to their house and talk about ideas without being raided at gunpoint by a bunch of cops and thrown in prison? Is this what it's come to? It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Anyway, that story is up on, endoftheamericandream.com. Is it up on InfoWars? I hope so. That should be up on InfoWars. Maybe it is. Speaking of InfoWars, I saw something yesterday that I wanted to just mention because I did research about this. There's a new sponsor on InfoWars that's sponsoring some pinhole glasses. I got to tell you, there is a cover up behind conventional eye doctors and what's going on there. Now, these pinhole glasses really work. And if you go to Infowars.com, you check them out, you can get these pinhole glasses. They exercise your eyes, and for many people, they really do improve vision. Now, I don't have any financial ties to this. This is an independent review. But here's what I found out when I wrote about this, like, I don't know, 8 months ago or something. The mythology of conventional eye doctors is they say the reason your vision gets blurry is because your eye changes its shape. Yeah, they say your eyeball got longer or shorter. Now, that doesn't make any sense. Is that skull still around here? We could actually show it. But anyway, Alex was using it last week for his documentary on anthropology and so on. But if you look at the human skull, you'll notice that the eye sockets are surrounded by bone. Well, the shape of your eye is not going to change unless your skull changes its shape. The only way your eye can get longer is if your head gets jammed into a trash compactor or something. I mean, seriously, how's your eye going to change shape? Your eye is a gelatinous mass. It takes on the shape of the socket in which it resides. So the reason we get blurry vision for some people, not all types of vision problems, but for many of them, it's because the muscles that change the shape of your eye lens, those muscles actually get weak. And when those muscles get weak, you can't refocus on the proper portion of the back of your eye. Now, you may say, well, why does that get weak? Sorry, I got to turn this off before I get on air. You may say, well, why do your muscles get weak? It's because you're not working them out. So just like if you don't work out your legs and you don't go to the gym and pump weights and you don't work out, you're going to atrophy your muscles. You're going to get weaker. Well, your eye muscles, if you don't live out in the country or somewhere that you're focusing on distant objects and then close-in objects and back and forth, distant and close-in, that exercises the muscles that change the shape of your lens. They change the concavity of your lens that help the image focus on the back of your eye. I hope I'm not getting too technical here, but your eyeball needs exercise. That's the bottom line. Anyway, these pinhole glasses actually do exercise your eyes. And for many people, they can recover their vision, eliminate the blurriness, and they never need glasses because of this. So I just wanted to, go on the record and say that's something to check out. And I did an independent review of it, and that's what I found out. So that could save you a lot of money and a lot of hassle. Sure, I'm going to get mail from some eye doctors saying, no, the eyeball changes shape. Whatever. Skull doesn't. Not after you're like 6. Anyway, stay with us. We'll have a lot more straight ahead right here on the Alex Jones Show. A lot more in the segment coming up about the future of humanity. We got a lot of mind-blowing information coming up for you in this segment. This is the Alex Jones Show. Mike Adams filling in for you today. Hope you've enjoyed the show so far, and we're just getting started, believe me. There's so much more coming up. Your mind is about to be expanded beyond belief, and no substance is required, just information and awareness. That's the best part of it. Now, along those lines, by the way, I don't know if you get a shot of this, guys, but I have on the Infowars desk here, for those of you watching on Prisonplanet.tv, I have a salt lick, a mineral lick for cattle. And you can go out and buy this at any animal feed store. I'm going to mention this later. I don't know if you can get a shot of it, whatever. Anyway, it's a trace mineral lick. It's kind of brown colored, looks like a brick, actually, but it's for animals to consume to get trace minerals. But if you dare prescribe trace minerals to humans, suddenly you're in violation of the FDA. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. Why do animals get the nutrition but not humans? Ask yourself that question as you listen in. But the big thing coming up in this segment begins with an amazing documentary that Alex Jones and the Infowars crew put out yesterday after many days, well, many weeks of production and many days of rendering. Here it is. Humanity's, well, there's the shot for those viewing. The trace mineral salt lick. Yeah, good stuff. But here's the you got to see this documentary. It's Humanity's Greatest Secret, Stairway to the Universe. This was put out yesterday by Alex Jones and the Infowars crew. You got to see it. Go to Infowars.com, watch this documentary. I think it's about 20 to 30 minutes, something in that range. This is amazing. This is big picture thinking, and if you really want to understand why all of this matters, why we need to defeat tyranny, why we need to expose the globalist agenda, why we need to take a stand against GMOs and stealth viruses and vaccines and domination over the food supply and intellectual property domination over genes and life and seeds and everything. Why do we need to achieve victory in all of this? Watch that documentary, Humanity's Greatest Secret, Stairway to the Universe. Now, what's amazing to me about this, this is almost bizarre. Just a few days before this came out, I put out a video called The God Within, which is also a documentary. And that's available. You can view that right now at divinitynow.com, which is a non-profit, non-commercial website just about expanding consciousness and awareness from a spiritual perspective. And there's so many tie-ins between these two documentaries, you would almost think that we must have sat down and met together to discuss these ideas, but we didn't. What's fascinating is that we're thinking in parallel. Where InfoWars is going, we're going also over at Natural News. We're talking about the big picture. What is the overarching spiritual victory path to bring us into a place of true awareness of what's going on, true freedom? I'm talking about universal freedom from tyranny. I'm talking about honoring life. I'm talking about acknowledging the existence of a creator of this universe. Those are the kinds of concepts that we are getting into. And here's why this really matters. If you look at the overriding philosophy, or you could say the undercurrent philosophy of the scientific dictatorship that is trying to dominate humanity right now, it is one of what I call a zombie universe. And I'm going to read you some quotes here that will absolutely blow your mind. Because I think most of you listening, you agree that you are a conscious, self-aware individual. You have free will, right? You can decide what to do. You have consciousness. It's self-evident. You can experience it at every moment. You're awake. You're alive, right? And most of you believe there is a creator, a God, an intelligent consciousness, a vastly greater intelligence behind our universe and behind life and the magic and the miracle of life and artistry and everything that we witness that's so beautiful around us. And yet, the scientists, the conventional scientists out there who are dominating the political agenda, the scientific dictatorship, they think there's no consciousness, they think there is no creator, you don't have free will, and you are nothing more than a biological robot. All right, I'm going to read you quotes. This is from Stephen Hawking, who is one of the most widely acclaimed physicists in the realm of conventional physics. And he says, there is no heaven. And that whole story, he says, is a fairy tale for people who are afraid of the dark. And this is in The Guardian. I'm holding the story right in front of me. The Guardian, this was published in May 15th of 2011. There is no heaven. It's a fairy story for people who are afraid of the dark. Now, Stephen Hawking goes on to say in another book that I researched and wrote about, quote, it's hard to imagine how free will can operate if our behavior is determined by physical law. So it seems we are no more than biological machines and that free will is just an illusion. That's what he says. He says he regards the brain as a computer which will stop working when its components fail. There is no heaven or afterlife for broken down computers. That's his point of view. And it's not just Hawking. It's not just people like that. It's also, if you go back, it's Francis Crick, the co-discoverer of DNA. He said that awareness is nothing more than a feeling. He says, quote, that your joys and sorrows, your memories, your sense of personal identity and free will are, in fact, no more than the behavior of a vast assembly of nerve cells and their associated molecules. In other words, you're not even human, people. You're not even alive. Now, why does this matter? Because this is the scientific underpinning, the dark, destructive, philosophical foundation from which tyrants can destroy lives and justify it. If they want to commit mass genocide, if they want to kill off 5.8 billion people on the planet and bring it down to just 1 billion people, if they want to use children for vaccine experiments and exploit their bodies, they think it's totally fine. Because they worship a philosophy of the zombie universe, no free will, no creator, nothing is divine, nothing matters. In fact, you're not even alive, you have no free will, you have no consciousness, and therefore, if they torture you, if they abuse you, if they kill you, there is no moral consequence to their actions. You see how dangerous and deadly that is. So for us as info warriors,